The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its taste, with what can it be seasoned? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city set on a mountain cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and then put it under a bushel basket. It is set on a lampstand, where it gives light to all in the house. Just so, your light must shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father." The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel for this Sunday comes from Matthew, a portion of the great Sermon on the Mount. And we are familiar with this text where Jesus compares his disciples to salt and a city set on a hill and light, a lamp that is lighted and should not be put under a bushel basket. Three images: salt, a city on a hill, and the lamp. Now, we want to follow the theme that we have been developing so far: Christian witness, witnessing to God. In the first reading from Isaiah, we find the prophet reminding his listeners or readers that actions on behalf of justice and love are actually a witness to the light of God. Whenever those actions occur, darkness is dispelled because God's glory is manifested. In the second reading, St. Paul tells the Corinthians that there is another way to testify to the glory of God in Jesus crucified, and that is through preaching. Preaching in a humble way. The preacher should not compete with Jesus, who is the central message. So in his limitations, in his trepidation and fear, his only concern is to proclaim the message, and not himself. So in the process, the faith of people rests on a sure foundation, which is the wisdom of God. Christian witness. Now, the same theme is developed in this portion of the Gospel of St. Matthew. But Jesus uses images. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. And in two ways are the disciples light of the world: by being a city set on a hill, in full view of people, and being a lamp, lighted but not hidden under a bushel basket. These are three images of Christian discipleship, of Christian witnessing to God. Now, let us look at them one by one. Salt. Salt enhances the flavor of food. But salt, to be able to do that, must be different from the food. Imagine if salt tastes like vegetables. Imagine if salt tastes like chicken. Then it does not perform its role as salt. But even if it is different, it must be humble. Just like St. Paul. Imagine if salt calls attention to itself. And so we will lose our appreciation for the pork or the fish or the vegetable. Salt is at the service of the goodness of the food stuff that it's supposed to enhance, so that when we eat, we do not say, "Oh, ang sarap ng asin." No. We do not say, "Wow, where did you buy this salt?" No. We say, "Wow, this chicken is tasty." Or we say, "Oh, wow, what type of fish is this?" Nobody remembers the salt. But the salt is there, working powerfully, humbly, and working really, but as a witness. it draws our attention to the main course, not to itself. So even in its hiddenness, it is at work. Now, so the salt here is very similar to what St. Paul was talking about in the second reading. The apostle that trembles, the apostle that is humble, but doing his work in order to make Christ the center of his preaching. But then there are two other images. The city set on a hill. Now, if we visit medieval cities, for example, you find them located on top of a hill. Now, there is a purpose to that. Now, it's a way to prevent enemies from easily attacking us. But at the same time, these cities set on a hill become reference points. When travelers are lost and they see the city or signals of a city, they know the direction that they should take. But imagine if a city is hidden, then the travelers would not have a reference point for their direction. I remember when I was growing up in our town of Imus, they said that the brother of my grandfather, who has a piece of property there, they said that the tallest and the biggest mango tree in Imus is right there. So that became a reference point for the revolutionaries who were fighting the Spanish Armada or the Spanish forces. When they see that mango tree, malapit na tayo sa Imus. That type of reference point. But it must be seen. Otherwise, people who are looking for direction will lose their way. So they're not after the city. They're looking for something deeper. Direction, protection. And this is similar to the third image, a lamp. You do not light a lamp in order to keep it hidden under a bushel basket. He says, you put it on a lampstand. Now, but the lamp will not draw attention to itself. The lamp will serve the vision of people so that they will see everything that is in the house. Just like salt. Light, the lamp is visible, but it is visible in a humble way. It is visible in order to make others visible. It is visible not for its own sake. It is visible in order to serve people who need to find their direction in the house. For in darkness, they might destroy many items in the house. The lamp is lighted not in order to tell everyone, hey, look at me. No, but through the light emanating from the lamp, the people could appreciate the other items in the house. Visible yet hidden because it is humble. All of these images tell us about the quality of Christian witness. Jesus ends these explanations by saying, so you disciples, your good deeds should be seen. Do not hide your good deeds. And if we go back to Isaiah, do not hide your deeds of love and justice. But why? Why will we show them? Not in order to become famous, not in order to be appreciated, but in order for people to see how good the Father is. So we, in all of our actions, we have one thing in mind. We are doing this so that the Lord will be glorified, so that people will get to know the Lord better through us. We will disappear like salt, like the light of the lamp. We will be humble. We will draw attention of people to God, so that seeing how God could influence weak and humble people like us, they will glorify the Lord. You know, this is one thing good with reading the lives of saints. the saints are very human like us. No? But when you see their lives testimony, you see how God could really work through frail and weak and sinful witnesses. And somehow, it is not the glory of a Dominic or a Francis or an Ignatius that is left in your mind. As you remember the details of their lives, all the more you see the greatness of God. How God can take us and transform us into light of the world, salt of the earth. Today is also Pro-Life Sunday. And we need more witnesses to actions of justice and love in defense of life, from conception up to death. We need more people who will preach the gospel of life. But we need to do it humbly, not pretending that we have all the wisdom. It's the wisdom of God. It's the glory of God that we want people to see. In our defense of life, we want the face of the God of life to shine forth. When we defend, especially the unborn, the defenseless unborn, we become the witness to God who hears the cry of the poor and comes to their rescue. We want to celebrate God, who is the source of life, the God who is love. You know, I remember the story of a janitor in one parish. One morning, he was sweeping the church grounds in preparation for the first Mass. And so he is observant. He sees the cars, the tricycles, and people walking to the church. And that particular day, that morning, he saw a car that parked near the garbage area of the parish, and a person taking out of the car a box. But normally when we throw garbage, we just throw it like that. But this janitor was very observant. He saw how carefully the driver brought the box to the garbage bin. So something got triggered in his heart. He took the plate number and waited for the car to leave. And the moment it was out of the church grounds, he opened the box. And he saw a newborn baby girl. And the janitor took the baby, brought it to the priest, who brought it to the hospital. Wow. Life. Thanks to the janitor, whose instincts, whose being observant, somehow resonated with the cry of the baby and the love of the father for the abandoned. Let us be sensitive witnesses. For the world walking in darkness needs the light of God. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.